Okay, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's okay to respond back. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay, so hello, everyone. My name is Nahar AIdrees from Misk Foundation, and I'm happy to be here with you today on the third day of the Misk Global Forum. I'm especially excited to welcome you to an inspiring session with an entrepreneur, an international best-selling author, an award-winning film producer who defied all odds and went from being homeless on the streets of San Francisco with his child to becoming a very successful entrepreneur, an author of the best-selling book, The Pursuit of Happyness. In our session today, we'll explore how resilience, discipline, and determination can guide you from the darkness of despair into the light of hope. How believing in yourself can be the only rope you need to climb the toughest mountain. How love for your family can shield you from the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. And how joy, laughter, and happiness with a Y are still possible after the ugliest cries. Welcome to Riyadh, Chris. We're very happy to have you here.
I am absolutely honored to be here. I cannot thank you all enough. This is, I believe, my third time at Misk. And I have to tell you that I believe Saudi Arabia is one of the most exciting places on the planet. So thank you for having me.
Okay, Chris. So I would like to kick off our session with a quote that you often use. You can only depend on yourself because the cavalry ain't coming. So I would like us to start with you telling us about your incredible journey. How did this statement stay with you throughout your journey?
That statement, the cavalry is not coming, is a quote from my mother. And my mother was one of those people, when she said something many, many times, you didn't just hear it with your ears, you heard it with your heart. And that stayed with me. And that's just as applicable today as it was when she said it to me as a child. The cavalry is not coming, meaning the only person that you really can count on is you. And there's some power that comes with that. Okay, you can empower yourself when you count on yourself. So, and I live by that today. I embrace others, I collaborate with others, but you got to know, ultimately, it's on you.
I agree. Thank you so much for sharing this about your mother as well, Chris. Well, Chris, your journey to success, which is a testament to thinking big and taking bold actions. How did you initially find the motivation to dream big, especially during very challenging times?
That, again, goes back to my mom. Okay, I'm sitting here with you today, talking with you and being with everyone here at Misk in Saudi Arabia because I had one of those old-fashioned mothers who told me you could do or be anything. And I believed it. And it's very important to share with you what she did not say. She did not say that you're guaranteed anything. She did not say you're guaranteed, assured, owed, or entitled to anything. She said you could do or be anything. And for me, again, that was a bigger statement. Because if you can do or be anything, all these other things will come. And that statement, again, was permission to dream. And I live by that today. And let me say this. You mentioned the first book, The Pursuit of Happyness. My newest book, Permission to Dream, I've got to share with you. I'm really tremendously excited. Both of those books have now been published in Arabic. So that's kind of a big deal for me.
That's amazing.
That's a really, really big deal for me.
Well, permission to dream. Thank you for sharing this with us, Chris. Well, many people currently are facing difficult circumstances, and they vary in terms of adversity and seeking hope and inspiration in their life. What practical advice would you give youth to offer them help to keep them going forward? And what practical advice do you use in your day-to-day life when you face adversity?
You've got to always be asking yourself, and one thing I'm always asking myself is, what's the plan? Everybody's got a dream, everybody's got a goal, but what is the plan? And most importantly, what is plan A? And I will submit to you that if I were a young person in Saudi Arabia right now, I would be tremendously excited by the future and Vision 2030 as presented by the Crown Prince, but I would also be somewhat anxious because you've got to know some of the best and brightest minds in the world are coming to Saudi Arabia. And they're not coming to Saudi Arabia to participate in some form of nation building or to make the world a better place. They're coming for economic opportunities. And you got to be asking yourself, what am I doing to be prepared to sit at this table? What am I doing? And the people I really want to be in touch with are the people that are saying to themselves, I want to build my own table. Right? I don't want to sit at this table. I want to build my own table. Those are the people I really want to see what's that going to
Pioneers,
happen.
basically. Build my own table. I love this. Okay, the title of your book, which is the first one that you mentioned, The Pursuit of Happiness, spelled happiness with a Y. Why do you spell happiness with a Y?
That why is there. People have stopped me on the streets all over the world and said to me, you know you spell happiness wrong. No, that why is there to make us all mindful that it is you and your responsibility, you and your opportunity to create the life that you want for you and your family. That's why we insist on spelling happiness with a Y.
Interesting. Okay, do you believe in luck?
No.
Why?
The best luck I ever had, I made. The worst luck I ever had, I made. Okay? If you believe in luck, go to Las Vegas. I'm not. And you know, Quincy Jones gave me the best definition of luck I ever heard. He once said that luck is the dust created when preparation and opportunity collide. The dust. No, I do not believe in luck.
Okay, well, I have another interesting question for you. What do you think would be worse? Getting an opportunity and not being prepared for it, or never getting the opportunity in your life?
Not being prepared. None of us can control when, if, and how an opportunity is going to present itself. But we can control how prepared we are to embrace it. You're talking to a guy who never went to college a day in his life, who had to compete with people who went to Harvard for kindergarten, on Wall Street. And I was able to do so because I was prepared. I've got to tell you, I run into these situations all the time. You're going to have a lot of people who are smarter than me. It happens every day. People who have more money than me. Happens all the time. People who have better relationships than me. Every day. But you're not going to ever catch me unprepared. You're not going to be better prepared than me. I can control that. So being unprepared, no, we can do something about that.
I agree, because basically you can't control what happens in life,
Nope.
but you can definitely control
Be
what
ready
you
for it
do,
when it comes.
and you have to be prepared for the opportunities when it presents itself. I agree. Well, Chris, we talked about how individuals, it's important for us to kind of depend on ourselves, and you mentioned briefly having a plan A. Can you elaborate on that, and can you tell me a little bit more?
Plan A. Plan A has got to have something I call your C5 complex. Your plan A has got to be clear, concise, compelling, consistent, and committed. That's plan A. I live in Chicago. I'm going to just, 3 examples, some folks I can think of that were committed to plan A. Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan's got 6 NBA championship rings because he was committed to plan A, not plan B. Oprah Winfrey became the queen of all media because she was committed to plan A, not plan B. Whatever your politics are, Barack Obama served 2 terms as president of the United States because he was committed to plan A, not plan B. Plan B sucks. If plan B was any good, it'd be plan A. No, plan B. Give your plan B to somebody you don't like for their birthday.
Okay. Well, we talked, Chris, about how individuals, it's important to depend on yourself, have plan A, and nobody's saving you. The cavalry ain't coming. Well, how can we as individuals and organizations as well join forces to bring out the best collectively to make long-lasting social impact?
The first thing is, honestly, all of us individually. Now, I'm going to say this, and I don't want this to be offensive to anyone, but there are parts of the world where we are not back on our A game. A lot of us have been too comfortable in coming out of this COVID fog with words like okay, adequate, acceptable, good enough. I'm submitting to you exemplary and excellence, phenomenal. It's time to bring those words back, and we can do that individually. One of the ways we do that individually is by saying to other people and demonstrating if okay and acceptable is good enough for you, I can't spend a lot of time with you. That's contagious. Okay, if adequate is good enough for you, I can't hang with you. I'm looking for excellence, not perfection. Excellence. There's a difference.
Yes, I remember we talked about this. Perfection is not it, but excellence it is. Well, okay, Chris, I want to move maybe a little bit about and go back a little bit to your story. Earlier, we were talking about your family and how having a support system around you and having people that you love around you kind of shapes your journey and helps you to go forward and helps you to be determined. Your relationship to your son is central parts to your story. How did your role as a father influence you and your determination to overcome challenges?
Well, the first thing we have to do is talk about this. I was unfortunately raised without a father. And the most important decision that I ever made in my life was when I grow up, become a man, and have children, my children are going to know who their father is. That is the most important decision that I ever made in my life. And I made that decision as a 5-year-old boy. And just a little minor, major difference between reality and the film. In the film, you saw Jaden Smith play my son as a 5-year-old. In reality, at this point in our journey, my son was 14 months old.
A lot younger.
He was still in diapers, right? But that was who I was. That was the most important decision I ever made in my life, was that I was going to make sure that my son knew who his father is. That was it for me.
That's amazing.
Right? But now the other side of that is I now get to be the world's greatest grandfather. Hey, that is my reward. I am now the world's greatest grandfather. My granddaughter is 15 years old, and she is the finest piece of work ever produced in the history of my family.
Lord, she's lucky to have a grandfather like you, Chris.
No, I'm blessed. I am blessed.
Well, okay. There are words that we keep hearing that we even mentioned in our session, like resilience and grit. You've got to be resilient. You had to have grit. What does that mean? What does it mean to you to have resilience and grit?
You know what it means for me, honestly? It means that nobody's got to see it but you. Somebody sitting out there right now has got a vision, has got a dream, and there's some people in your lives who might not see that vision for you. They may not see that happening for you. And they love you. But you got to see it for yourself. You got to see it with the eyes in your soul. My mom used to look at me and she'd say, "Son, are you seeing ghosts again?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." What she was asking is, you're seeing yourself accomplish things that nobody else can even imagine you accomplishing. And her point again was that if you can see those things with the eyes in your soul, you don't need any external validation. Sometimes some of us were waiting for somebody else to say, "That's okay. I can see that for you. You can do that." I want to give everybody in here some homework. Can I?
Let's try.
Okay? I'm going to give everybody in here some homework. this whole idea about the future coming to Saudi Arabia, the world coming to Saudi Arabia. Your homework is I want you to go home, and for the next 30 days, I want you to brush your teeth every day. And when you look at that person in the mirror, I want you to ask that person 2 questions. Number 1, if I could walk through a door tomorrow morning and be doing anything in the world, what would it be? What would it look like? What would it smell like? What would it taste like? Engage all of your senses, and then ask yourself the second question. What did I do today to make tomorrow happen? Did I move the dial forward 1 notch? Did I take 1 baby step towards what it is I say I want to do? And if the answer is no, then that's on you. But Nahar, you also got to remember, that person that you see in that mirror when you brush your teeth, that person heard everything that you said, and they saw everything that you did. And you got to deal with that. You got to deal with that.
Yes, you told me earlier the only promise you shouldn't break is with yourself. Because when you break it, then...
You got nothing left.
Exactly. Okay, well, Chris, you know that entrepreneurship is at the heart of Misk, and I know that we have a lot of young entrepreneurs. You yourself, as a very, very successful entrepreneur, what advice would you give young entrepreneurs or employees who are trying to transition into entrepreneurship?
First of all, again, I got to tell you, I think you all are in one of the most exciting places on the planet, and you got to know, if anybody can make whatever that vision is happen, they're sitting out here right now. Okay? You got to know that. And you got to ask yourself, am I the one? Am I the one? Am I ready? Am I prepared? Am I committed? And I have to say this, man, if I were a young person sitting out there right now, you got to be prepared to spend a lot of time alone, because everybody's not going to see that vision that you have for yourself. Everybody's not going to see it, but you got to see it, and you got to embrace it, and you got to give yourself permission to dream and know it can be done. It's been done before, but you all are in a very, very unique position, being here, where unlimited capital is going to merge with unlimited imagination. The question is, how are you going to get in the game? Are you ready? I'm looking straight at you, bro. You know I'm talking to you, right? You know I'm talking to you. What you doing to get ready, man? You got to ask yourself that question every day.
Well, I'm conscious of our time, so my final question to you, Chris, is the theme of it.
Why are we out of time? You have to go someplace? Why do we have to go someplace? The minister went 30 minutes over time. I'm joking. Okay, it's a joke. All right.
Okay. So my final question, Chris, the theme of MGF is think big, act now. You wrote in your book, the world is your oyster. It's up to you to find your pearls. And I saw a post from you a couple of days back. The sun is shining, and I'm jumping from continent to continent. Dreams don't have borders. And that dreams don't have borders stayed with me. Can you share your mindset about thinking big, globally, without borders? And what advice would you have for our young audience?
First of all, let me say this. The most important thing that I do in my life right now, every day, is spend time with young people globally. In the last 5 years, I've spoken in over 500 public schools on 3 different continents and talked to young people about what can be done. There's no shortage of people telling you what you cannot do. I'm saying what can be needs to be as much a part of the conversation as what cannot be, right? And why now? If 2020 taught us all nothing else, it taught us this. None of us knows how much time we got left on the clock. Your age right now chronologically means nothing. You can ask anyone that you sit next to right now, how much longer do you have to work before you're eligible for retirement? They know. How much gas is in your car? They know. But when you ask, how much time have you got left in your life? Nobody in here knows. So that is why this is the big now. Time is the ultimate asset. You can make money, you can lose money, but you cannot make time. That's it.
Well, at the end of our session, Chris, I want to express my gratitude for you for sharing your experience. Thank you so much for coming to Saudi. Thank you so much for sharing your experience and journey with us. I genuinely enjoyed our conversation, and I enjoyed spending time with you and getting to know you a little bit more. Everyone, if you're as inspired and as touched by Chris's experience and story as me, please let's give him the biggest round of applause.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you.